Oh, no, no, looks like it did go right. All right. Good morning. Hello, Lemmings. Hold on. Let me get set up here. Shrink her down a little bit. All right. And where are the comments? See if anybody is up this morning. I want to talk about freedom on Freedom Friday. Talk about freedom. Give us free. Give us free, because it's Freedom Friday and everybody's guys probably at work, probably on your plantations, getting ready to. Good morning, everybody. See, Brother Dale is in the house, and Jennifer, and Buddha, and Misty, and Abdul. How's everybody doing this morning? How's everybody on Freedom Friday? The day that we recall that we are not lemmings. Hey, Brother Jeff, how you doing this morning? We are not lemmings, you guys. I got my cup of Joe. I was thinking about a few things this morning. Of course, I was I was listening to what's his brother's name, Russell Brand. I was listening to Brother Russell Brand. So, any of y'all who don't want to think or focus on like the future, this is probably not something you want to watch. Like, I have a lot of friends who are every time I'll say something and they'll come back and say, "Oh, you're a utopianist." I don't know what a utopianist is. That kind of sounds like some sort of venereal disease or religion or something. I don't know. But the thing that I like to respond back to them is, if you think about it, every 100 years or so, the utopianists are right, if that's the word, right? Like, if you really think about it, think about people. I tell my kids, I, I get to go. I tell my kids about the time when we didn't have remote controls. That's tyranny. Like, that's just horrible. You mean to tell me you had to sit in the kitchen on a telephone? You couldn't leave the kitchen? You had to stay? I said, yeah, son, but you had to sit at the counter at the bar. But times got real good because they developed cords that actually were longer than 6 feet. They had cords that would go almost 12 feet. You could almost cook and talk on the phone. And they just looked at me like, you're not funny. That's tyranny. That's not. But I talk about the days when you were your parents' remote control. You couldn't turn the remote control. You had kids for the remotes, right? You wanted to turn the channel. They went up to the station and click, 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 click. They started turning that station. And so, but if you think about it, utopia always happens. It always happens. If you look at people 100 years ago and you look at our society today, they would think this was total utopia, complete utopia. And probably, those people 200 years before them and maybe 400, 800 years before them, utopia always happens. It's just utopia is not all that profitable, right? If we built up a system on making money today, on power and control and resources today, damn it, I don't want your utopia right now because I'm in power. If I'm in power, then the last thing I want is change. Hell no, I don't want no change. I want things to stay the way they are. And so we'll call them utopia haters, I guess, for the sake of argument. The utopia haters tend to be the establishment people. Those tend to be maybe they're doing a little better than others. And they have no interest in y'all's change ideas, no interest on changing anything. Not fast. They want to do it slow so they can make a lot of money and keep their power off of it. So the thing I encourage you to think about is utopia always happens. It's just you can slow it down, and you slow it down by burning people on the cross, by burning people on the stake, by and this is what they did, right? The utopianists were crazy. If you didn't march with the Lemmings, this is the Lemming game, y'all. I don't know if you guys, some of y'all are old enough to remember the Lemmings. We used to play the Lemmings, and the Lemmings and the herd are different. I'll get into that in a minute. But the Lemmings, they're being led by a single player, right? A a central management system, a central management brain is telling the lemmings where to go, walk over the bridge. Hold on, let me switch that. No, I'm gonna keep this one going. But the herd is a little different. A herd has structure, and herd has individual actors. Right? The individual actors in the herd can take over leadership if it's going the wrong way. A herd has a mind. If a lion pride gets too big, the pride separates. Why? Because y'all going the wrong way. We don't want to go with y'all. We're going to separate it out. And so we're not even as smart as a herd anymore. We're total lemmings. We're basically marching over bridges, listening to a central management system, and just falling into just really. Oh, let me switch my thing. I like this one a little better. Let's go to this one right here. We aren't even smart as being a herd. We are all just running towards the hole because. And the scary thing is, no one really debates that. Like, I don't know anybody, no one in their right mind actually debates that we're heading in a good direction. We are all heading for a freaking hole, and everybody's just running faster and faster. Stop! Don't listen to the utopians. Just keep running, keep moving, keep moving. Gotta move faster. You know, you got that cheese in your butt walk. Yeah, y'all remember that McDonald's commercial? It was a long time ago. That's my age. I've got a taste for McDonald's right on the tip of my tongue, and they're just moving, cheese all up in your butt, walking. You know, and this is how I go. When I go to the city every now and then, my form of enslavement, financial enslavement, requires I go to the city, and I just see people walking to work. They got the cheese in the butt, just walking around, just happy. Got the briefcase, look good though, smell good with all that cheese, and none of the cheese falling out because they keep the butt cheeks real tight, just walking. But anyway, I'm not going to let me slow down a little bit. Yeah, all these eases in our life, Sister Lori, all these things that just make life so easy, so good. It's we're always marching towards, development, automation, efficiency, productivity. But I want to talk about freedom. It's Friday, so I'm going to talk about freedom. I got my favorite cup. Y'all see, this is my favorite cup. See what that says? Well, I'm not sure if you can see what it says because I don't know. They do the reverse mirror thing. That's my cup. It says Dad. My boys got me this cup a long time ago. This is my favorite cup. Why? Because love them dudes more than anything, and that's what life is all about for the herd. Is the next generation. Let me get these lemons. Hold on. You're gonna drive me crazy falling in the hole. Everything is the next generation. The next generation is everything. To the herd. The herd is smart enough to understand your only existence is for the next generation. Before I go too far, you know what? When I listen to Russell Brand, I think about my days back when I used to work for the drug dealers. Back when I used to work in the big pharma industry. I used to work for the drug dealers, y'all. They didn't give me a gold chain and some K-Swiss and Jordans and a 3-stripe Adidas suit. That's my raising in the Washington, D.C. area. That's what all the drug dealers wore back then. They didn't give us that. They gave us suits and ties, walk on in the office looking good, smelling good. But back then, I used to work for a company based in the U.K. And I always wanted a U.K. accent. I don't know. The U.K. accent to me, the English accent, it just sounds, no matter what you say, it just sounds smart. It's just, if I could have an accent, it would be an English accent. And probably why, it was because the way they talk to management. Like, they get on airplanes and they come over, fly to tyrannical America. And we, the boss come in the room, Americans, we all under the desk like this. Like, what are you going to say? What do you do? You do your homework? You finished? Did you do the report? Are the TPS reports ready to go? And these UK dudes will walk in the office just strutting with a little swagger. They just walk in the office and they start saying stuff. They could care less. But like, there's a different mindset of people who are freer than people who aren't so free. And I have to work on my English accent. They say stuff like myself and thinking and off, and they just come anyway. Aluminium. I always want to say aluminium. I don't know why. I have no reason to say it either because I think aluminium is banned in California because it's like killing people and stuff. But anyway, I think it was a Sister Lori or Sister Nora. I forgot who sent me down a path this morning in the post. I want to show y'all something real quick. Y'all pay attention. Take notes because it's going to be a test later. Just pay attention. I want to show you something. Just going to take a few minutes. It's a damn commercial. Oh.
What is reality? Knowledge? The meaning of life? Big topics you might tackle figuratively, explaining existence as a journey down a road or across an ocean, a climb, a war, a book, a thread, a game, a window of opportunity, or an all too short-lived flicker of flame. 2,400 years ago, one of history's most famous thinkers said life is like being chained up in a cave, forced to watch shadows flitting across a stone wall. Pretty cheery, right? That's actually what Plato suggested in his Allegory of the Cave, found in Book 7 of the Republic, in which the Greek philosopher envisioned the ideal society by examining concepts like justice, truth, and beauty. In the allegory, a group of prisoners have been confined in a cavern since birth, with their backs to the entrance, unable to turn their heads, and with no knowledge of the outside world. Occasionally, however, people and other things pass by the cave opening, casting shadows and echoes onto the wall the captives face. The prisoners name and classify these illusions, believing they're perceiving actual entities. Suddenly, one prisoner is freed and brought outside for the first time. The light hurts his eyes, and he finds the new environment disorienting. When told that the things around him are real, while the shadows were mere reflections, he cannot believe it. The shadows appeared much clearer to him, but gradually his eyes adjust until he can look at reflections in the water, at objects directly, and finally at the sun, whose light is the ultimate source of everything he has seen. The prisoner returns to the cave to share his discovery, but he is no longer used to the darkness and has a hard time seeing the shadows on the wall. The other prisoners think the journey has made him stupid and blind and violently resist any attempts to free them. Plato introduces this passage as an analogy of what it's like to be a philosopher trying to educate the public. Most people are not just comfortable in their ignorance, but hostile to anyone who points it out. In fact, the real-life Socrates was sentenced to death by the Athenian government for disrupting the social order, and his student Plato spends much of the Republic disparaging Athenian democracy, while promoting rule by philosopher kings. With the cave parable, Plato may be arguing that the masses are too stubborn and ignorant to govern themselves. But the allegory has captured imaginations for 2,400 years because it can be read in far more ways. Importantly, the allegory is connected to the theory of forms developed in Plato's other dialogues, which holds that, like the shadows on the wall, things in the physical world are flawed reflections of ideal forms, such as roundness or beauty. In this way, the cave leads to many fundamental questions, including the origin of knowledge, the problem of representation, and the nature of reality itself. For theologians, the ideal forms exist in the mind of a creator. For philosophers of language viewing the forms as linguistic concepts, the theory illustrates the problem of grouping concrete things under abstract terms. And others still wonder whether we can really know that the things outside the cave are any more real than the shadows. As we go about our lives, can we be confident in what we think we know? Perhaps one day a glimmer of light may punch a hole in your most basic assumptions. Will you break free to struggle towards the light, even if it costs you your friends and family? Or stick with comfortable and familiar illusions? Truth or habit? Light or shadow? Hard choices, but if it's any consolation, you're not alone. There are lots of us down here.
So process that. Process that was Plato's cave. I remember it from a long time ago in school, but it was deep. And I thank you, sister, for bringing me back to that thought. You know, the purpose for for every plant. To me, it all goes back to plants. The purpose for every plant is survival of the next generation. It encodes in its seeds everything it can to instruct its youth and to prepare its youth. Even some plants prepare the soil for the next generation. And their whole purpose is to die trying, to die giving the next generation a better go at it. And so every now and then, though, you get these visionaries. You get these Russell Brands and these Jacques Frescos and these Joseph Peters, and you get people who have a vision, a little vision into the future. You get people who experience great freedom, you know, the kids of those who the corporations we work for. But then some of us also get a little glimpse of what freedom feels like, what it tastes like, to wake up in the morning and do something that you love or go somewhere that you want. Personally, I wake up in the morning and I do something I love. In fact, I love it so much I do it for free. I can't do it for free because unfortunately y'all got me locked in this plantation. Every time I try to run off, y'all say off my foot. But we have to listen to the people who get a chance out to go outside the cave, or somebody maybe a little closer to the door who can see, y'all, freedom is right there. It's right. And we aren't too far from it, you guys. We aren't too far. But you know, the purpose of a plant, the whole purpose of a plant is to encode in the next generation the ability to thrive. It's like when I first started growing plants, I had to grow a manly one. I'm sorry if I told this story before, but it's pertinent to today's conversation. But at first, I couldn't grow no pansies, right? Because my neighbors, I love growing things, and I was just going to start out in my yard. But I had a neighbor, we had a lot of jokes. Brother Bruce, he had a whole lot of jokes. He liked to take pictures, and so I couldn't start with no pansies. I had to start with sunflowers. So I started with a manly flower, grow me some manly flower. And the first year it grew to be 6 feet. I could say something like 14 feet. And I figured, you know what, these must be some broken sunflowers. These Russian mammoths, these things don't work. These are broken. So I'm done with that. I'll plant something else next year. Put them in the garage. And ate some of the sunflower seeds, put them in the garage. And of course, they sat in the garage and came the next planting season. Instead of ordering more Russian mammoths, I said, you know what, I got those seeds out there. I'll go ahead and plant them. I planted them the next year. They were almost twice the height. That's crazy. People came by, you know, they kind of noticed, they recognized the squabble, they recognized the skill, and they were kind of like, oh, you know, this guy know what he's doing. He's got some big sunflowers. And I kind of popped my collar a little bit. The next year, I saved the seeds from those, and I planted them again. And damn it, if I didn't have some sunflowers that were ridiculous tall. I mean, I think I had. I mean, they were almost 20 feet. It was ridiculous how tall these sunflowers were. I had people pulling over, taking pictures. They were so big. I had old ladies, old gardeners, stopping like, "What you doing, baby? How you know what you?" What was happening? It was an epigenetic thing. The mother was encoding the seeds to deal with and grow well in the soils I was planting in. They were passing to their next generation the ability to thrive because they knew that soil was, you know, maybe it had a little too much selenium or aluminium, and it was encoding in the ability to thrive in that condition that the bald guy who owned that house was constantly watering, was overwatering. So it flipped the genes for, you know, it didn't need drought tolerance. It needed the ability to suppress water, as an example. So every species that's thrived on this planet, it prioritized the next generation over itself. It'll even kill itself quickly to give the next generation something. It'll become a martyr. As an example, the difference between hybrids and heirlooms. You know, and this is a little theory based, so don't go off on the cliff on me. But the heirlooms are slower growing, right? Which is why you can't really find them in the grocery store. They're not really profitable. They're slower growing because the plant has learned to thrive with that set of genetics in that environment, in that soil, and it can put a lot more nutrients and vitamins and compounds and things in that tomato that you will never get from a hybrid. Because that purpose of that hybrid, when the species cross and it doesn't have stable genetics and you never know what you're going to get the next generation, it's trying to figure out how to survive in that environment, in that soil. And so the hybrids, they aren't as nutritious. but they're quicker growing. You'll get a lot of tomatoes quickly, and so it'll seed for the next generation, die, and so it's a fast thing, right? And so human beings are heirlooms, you guys. We're not hybrids. We are heirlooms. We are supposed to prioritize the next generation over ourselves. But now I'm gonna give you another example. So the herd, right? We talk about everybody knows where this is going. And you think about a herd. If we're a herd and we're walking, and we know, damn it, the herd is growing. It's about 500,000 of us. And we know the migratory route we're going, there's not going to be enough food. Maybe, I don't know, it's becoming scarce. Some other herd is grazing in front of us, and it's becoming scarce. If we keep taking that same migration route, the herd in the future is eventually going to die. It's not going to be able to support the numbers. So the herd is smart enough to say, you know what? We need to change our migratory route. We got to take a risk because this direction does not end well for us. So let's go a different direction. So even bison, cattle, and the ugliest one I can think of, the water buffalo, supposed to be the dumbest, highly intelligent, much smarter than human beings, or at least modern human beings. They know how to change the path. They know how to change routes so that the next generation will survive. If we know that this money and we know that these currency-based systems are heading our next generation to complete failure, why don't we shift and change path? Even the lion pride. The lion knows when the pride becomes too big and it can't support the next generation, they divide up into multiple prides. I mean, you don't get many lion prides that go beyond 20 or so because then it starts splitting and dividing. So all of these dumb creatures that have survived for hundreds of millions of years more than us are smart enough to say, you know what? It's not about utopianism. It's about survival. We know the direction we're going isn't going to make it. It ends, let me get my finger right, it ends in putting the next generation. Like, where does it go when you continue to farm humans year after year after year, and you give those corporations more power, more automation, more AI? We can continue to agree on less rights for human beings, less rights and less rights. Where do you actually think that's going to end? Please don't tell me that you're stupid enough to not think that the people who wrote the story Matrix weren't trying to tell us a story. Like they didn't have like they weren't one of those brothers that either left the cave or looked outside of the cave. I have some crazy conspiracy theory. I think that in the future, we luckily somehow 2 or 3 people survived and they developed a time machine and they came back and they wrote the Matrix just to let us know this is not going to end well. And that's what I was saying the other day. That's why Elon Musk is making a damn rocket ship to get the hell out of here. He realized that if we aren't a multi-planetary species, these idiots in this AI that they're building is going to kill all us. But so think about this. If every developed nation leads to colonialism, like think about the UK, think about Europe, think about America, think about Spain, think about France, think about every country, Rome, think about the Mongols. Think about every civilization that ever consolidated enough power to kill its neighbor. It always killed its neighbor. Every power that became strong enough, when we centralized all this power, when we took all the mass power of the herd and put it into one centrally managed system, we always turn to colonialism. We always turn to empire. Those few people have always decided to murder vast amounts of people and take what they have. And this is why utopianism isn't about this whole crazy hippie thing and people who don't want to work. It's about we have enough information to know where this is going. We always know when we centrally take all the productivity of all these farmed humans and put them into a single elite, it always ends in murder, right? It always ends in a destabling of that society. It collapses and we got to start over again. And my thought is, why not we just take a different path? Like, why don't we go ahead and change direction now? Like, it's not about, and if you love your cubicle, right? That's not slavery to you. You love your cubicle. You want to stay there. Stay there. Like, I don't think we're saying that everybody has to come with us. If you love going to prison and your warrior jeans on, you want to go back there because you can deal drugs in prison and You got that violence and aggression because we were stupid enough to let you be raised like that, then go back to prison, right? Like, I don't think we're saying anybody has to come with us. I think what we're saying is stop fighting evolution, stop fighting technological advancement to a point where your ignorant government's going to make it illegal for brothers like Fresco and the Venus Project and these guys to take us in a different direction. Because it might just be we have to go in a different direction. I was looking at a post the other day, and they always want to convince you everything is absolutes. Oh, it's all one way or another. We could actually divide the republic up into 50 different states. Everybody can go their own way. Let every state come up with a system they think will work, and those who want to stay with a little central management governor or whatever, they can still do that. But then those who have other ideas can go some other directions. Like I think California might go a different way. I'm pretty sure Texas is going to go a different way. Massachusetts is going to go a different way. And then after so many years, whoever actually doesn't die has a great system. And the other states can start to evolve and adapt to that system. But we have to keep changing. We got to try different things, and we can't be scared of difference. It doesn't mean that it has to be extreme all one way or another, because we know where this is going. And so I kind of think, I mean, this is my theory. It's not mine. I'm sure I heard somebody else say it. But I don't think we're evolved for large communities. I don't think, and this is why I think we need to leave Catalonia alone. I don't think we're designed to put all of our power into just a few people's hands. I think we have to break it up. Yeah, brother Mark, I hear you. I'm not sure that maybe calling us a developed nation is the wrong word. Maybe we need to be more specific. We are developed in many ways, but we are not socially evolved. We are not civilized. And no, you can't. There isn't one herd out there that murders its own children. There isn't any herd out there that doesn't come to the aid of its own young. And those who don't, the lions prey upon them. And because the lions always go for the slowest and the weakest. And there are herds, I guess, who just keep running when the lions come. But they don't make it very long because the lions tend to thrive. Then you get lion herds. I was watching on National Geographic. One lion herd actually made it up into the 50s. You know what it's like when 50 lions comes for your herd? Then a damn thing you can do. You can be 100,000 strong. 50 lions come for you. They're going to take you. Do you know that lions take down elephants? Lions take down giraffes. Now, there are prides of lions who have evolved to do these things because we let them get so strong. Never empower your predators. And this is the biggest spit that I have with Democrats and Republicans in empowering the predators to get stronger and stronger. Because the longer we wait and the longer we let these fools drive us, the harder it is going to be for our kids in the future to fight back against massive, powerful new forms of Wall Street. Like, we're not even at monopoly levels, y'all. We are at levels where we are making mega monopolies. We are making corporations that they don't have the ability to just buy politicians. They have the ability to buy entire governments. They have more gross productivity. They have more profit. They make more profit than some small countries. They can buy islands. They can buy entire militaries and government. Where in the hell do you think that that's ending? Where do you think that's all going to go? Because, all right, let me go back a little bit. I just typed it off, and it's a saucy topic, y'all. Let me see what y'all talking about. Yeah, brother Mark, it is cotton picking. It's complete. This is why I say, y'all think that y'all free, and we aren't free. We all some slaves, every last one of us. So that's why I don't care about slavery 300 years ago. My goal is to fight slavery today and tomorrow. So y'all can go after some statues if you want. That is not my interest. That is my favorite cup right here. This is my interest, right? That's my interest. I want them dudes to have grandkids and my great-grandkids. Like, that's what I care about. The people who died before me, love them to death, but they're gone. We need to focus on today. So said Buddha, yes, never one way or another. Hey, Trinity, good morning, sister. Just woke up. Yeah, you don't sleep in. This is America. Can't sleep. Can't sleep in America. You sleep in America. Somebody, you know. So yeah, yeah, I think you're right, brother Mark. I think we're meant to be tribes, and I think, but we're meant to know the whole. I think we're meant to be one tribe, but a tribe that is evolved enough socially that it knows it's a part of a whole, that it knows it's a part of a human race, not any sort of tribalism that's fighting in between tribes, but tribes that thrive on the land that they are, with the knowledge and evolving and sharing with the other tribes, because the other tribes may need resources that are on the land there. So I think we are designed to be smaller groups, or we're designed to be completely self-managed, right? It could be that where we got off the rails was putting all this power into a centrally managed area like Washington. Like, if you really think about it, at least the way my brain works, you know what's wrong with teachers? We won't let them be teachers. We have a Department of Education that's ignorant as all get out and always has been. Okay, let me stop. That's not nice. That's not nice. That have bought into this idea that you can raise children in one way, that you can educate all children in one way. And we need to go back to how we used to educate kids when we were the number one. We were number one for education, which is letting teachers be teachers and not centrally manage them. You know why the doctors are so screwed up and nobody can trust them? Because they're centrally managed by the AMA. One way to manage 7 billion different or 270 million different types of human bodies that are all different with different microbiology and different genetics. But it's profitable to give them all one medication and just accept that 10 or 20% of them are going to die with a chronic illness. That's how we screw doctors up. How do we screw up police? We centrally manage the police. And so now police go out, they can't read a situation. They can't make a determination. They're required to do something. Mandatory minimums, mandatory arrests. That's what's wrong with the police. It's not the police, it's the ignorant people you vote for to centrally manage them that screw up our interactions with the population. So central management, I think, is a horrible, it is a monster, because we always, when we become this developed thing, we turn on our neighbor, we turn on our own. And so this is where we have to shift direction. People like to say that the human being is violent, right? That there's been war since the beginning of time. Always been war. There are archaeologists that disagree with that. There are a lot of them. That is not science. That is not fact. It is not fact that human beings are dangerous and violent. In fact, I actually think that if we look at human beings today, it's who we've always been. I always like to go back to the daycare, because the daycare is much smarter than Washington's ever been. But if you go back and look at the daycare, I wish daycare teachers could be the presidents and the Congress, but they know how to teach human interaction. But if you look at the daycares, you don't see the kids fighting, yelling, and screaming. And in fact, I think if you really paid attention, I think the only time a fight breaks out in a daycare is when they're fighting over a toy. There aren't enough resources to go around. And we know that's when governments start murdering everybody. That's when violent people start killing. Is when there aren't enough resources to go around. That's when people climb on top of hotel buildings and shoot a bunch of people, or go in crowds and shoot them. Is when they're raised in scarcity environments. We know this. This is not rocket science. But we can't seem to bridge that gap in our blockheaded brains as to, we can't raise children like this. That this ends again. All this central management, all this putting the same ignorant concepts back into office year after year, it all ends here. And so it's just like the trade deals. What is the purpose of the trade deal? The trade deals all have one purpose: to destroy local sustainable economies, because some super elite, wealthy, ignorant person wants to make a lot more money bringing in cheaper and cheaper goods from a different currency structure, from a different country, which topples all their competition at the local economy. And we know what that does. If you look at Puerto Rico, what happened to Puerto Rico? Why is Puerto Rico in such disarray? It's because we refuse to let them build up their own sustainable local economies. We force everything to be shipped in. We keep them in debt so they're not sustainable. So when the first storm comes, everybody dies. A lot of people die. Everything falls apart. So local sustainable economies are the only way we weather the storm. And where are we going? We are heading for a storm, you people. We are, and I appreciate y'all sharing. I like to, yeah, I have some conflicting views, and I think there are some views that by some people a lot smarter than me that I'm trying to put together have to get out, and people start thinking about. We gotta stop this train. The train is on fire, and we're heading for a gasoline substation. And I don't think that we wanted to run into the gasoline tanks. That's kind of so. Yeah, I don't think we're designed to be centrally managed. I think we're too powerful. There's a concept about human farming that's out there on the internet. I have to post. I think I posted. I have to repost it. That everything is about farming human beings. That there's nothing really valuable except for human ownership and productivity. And all throughout time, it's all been about farming human beings. And because where's the value in gold? The value in gold is human beings want it. Where's the value in oil? It's because human beings have to cut their grass and like to drive cars. Where's the value in coltan? Well, it's because human beings like phones and microcomputers. So the value in all these resources are about human beings and the control of them and what they have to do to survive. So if you got to drive a car to go to work, damn it, you need oil, which means that you might be okay with whatever a country does and whoever they murder and kill and bomb and destroy for oil. Why? Because you got to feed your family. And so they lock us into very inhumane, very murderous lifestyles where we're not actually doing the murder, but we get to eat and have homes, and so we're kind of complicit with it. So I don't like the rant. All right, brother Mark, I have to check out your video. You had a video yesterday. I have to check that out. We're social animals. And we're socially inept. We are. But why are we inept, Buddha? Why are we inept? And what I'm thinking is we're socially inept because we build systems that allow corporations to thrive and politicians to thrive off of things we've evolved to become. As an example, I forgot who put the video out. There was a deep video about they're trying to sell scanners in the wake of Las Vegas. I don't think one funeral's even happened from the brothers and sisters they killed down there. But they're trying to sell scanners. And in fact, the very next day, there were scanners in one hotel and they were bragging about how they had scanners already. Those full body scanners. But if we build systems that thrive on violent human beings, so this guy's father was a bank robber, right? And I don't know the conditions he was raised in, but listening to his brother didn't even know his father. And so there's some stuff there. I'm sure it'll come out in the future. But if we don't listen to these neuroscientists and the behavioral scientists explaining how psychopaths are, not how they're made, right? Because psychopaths are normal. They're everywhere. There's 1 in 100 are psychopaths. They're not all bad people. In fact, the vast majority aren't bad. Otherwise, we would not have a world, right? There are 100 people out there, well, 1 in 100 that have genetics to become psychopaths. So in America, what is that? 240,000? Or, I mean, think about what our society would be if we had 24,000 psychopaths running around America who weren't corporate psychopaths. They weren't authors. They weren't lawyers. They weren't stockbrokers, but they were shooters from hotels. Imagine what that would be like. So the psychopath isn't a bad thing. It's a natural thing. It's how we evolved over time. We evolved to have genetics that make us highly adaptable. That's all a psychopath is. It's just a highly adaptable person. It's a spectrum that they're on. A lot of them do have empathy. A lot of them do have fear. A lot of them don't have high aggression, but some of them have extremities. And it all depends on the environment they're raised in society. So I think we have systems that thrive, right? They thrive on a violent society. So if I'm a security company, I thrive on psychopaths being clicked and turned on. So I'm not as motivated to help the kids so that they don't grow up in those environments because I can sell my security equipment. And I don't think it's that heinous. I don't think that they design these things. I think that these things happen and they thrive on. So it makes sense for me because I want to sell my scanners. It makes sense for me to dump a little money into advertising, dump a little money into a politician's pocket. That's I'm talking about gun control. Ooh, talking about gun rights. Ooh, keep that debate going, right? Why? Because I know that debate will never get solved. I know Americans will never give up their guns, and I know the hardcore left is never going to give up that fight. And so I know if this problem's never going to get solved, all those, what is it, something like 100,000 scanners that are sitting in warehouses, whatever it was, that aren't being used because they were classified as causing cancer or a percentage of them or something like that. So that means now I can roll them out into the hotels. And it doesn't necessarily make you a very, very bad guy. It makes you a business person. But again, that's an easy decision for a psychopath. So I think what happens, Buddha, I think that we've designed a society that's sick. I think we've designed a society that thrives on our genetics and how we evolved and this need to survive and the dynamic human beings we've created with the warrior gene, you know. So yeah, Trinity's talking about the human cubicles. And so think about that. Think about the human cubicles. Think about slavery. Think about Monday morning and all your friends who are posting how much they love to go to work, how much they just love Monday. Think about all that excitement Sunday night when they're just ready to go to work Monday and they can't wait to just go to sleep so they can hurry up and wake up and leave their families and their houses to hurry up and get in the office. You know, those people don't exist. At least they're not on my friend's wall. What I see Sunday night is I see depression. I see mass depression. People who are dreading their favorite show ending and going to sleep to have to wake up and be forced to go somewhere they don't want to go, to do things they don't want to do next to people they don't even like and who don't like them. And all that anger welled up. Like what I think about is we've always been free. Always. And for 200,000 years, the vast majority of that time before civilization, we were free. And so everything in our body evolved to be free. It evolved freedom of choice. It evolved to thrive in happiness and joy and the ability to be outside and go places and do things and not be forced. And now we've been walked into society that forces us in cubicles. And what I ask you to think about people going postal. Think about what is the real end result of these cubicles. And I'm not talking about the people who, there are some people who love just being in the cubicles. Sit, you know, get your butt in that chair, get your donuts and your bagels, and you like it because you get to control people or something. There's some people that like that. But I think it's not a stretch to say the vast majority don't like this form of financial slavery. They don't like this form of physical slavery, but they do it because they have to survive. But think about if we are trapped in these places of depression, where we just find whatever little hope we can in our day, trapped in a cubicle, and just for moments, you know, in our lifetimes, we're let out to go free. We're let out to go do free things here and there, 2 weeks out of the year. It doesn't surprise me that people go postal. You know, it doesn't surprise me that people do very crazy things we can't figure out because they got this primal urge to be free. They have a primal urge to do anything that makes them feel like they're alive. Like, you know, people who cut themselves and people who climb the mountains and jump out of airplanes. That's crazy to me, y'all. So that might be living for some people, but to me, that's a crazy primal act because I jump out of airplane, I'm gonna die. I already know that, so that's not gonna happen. But you know, in the UK, oh my Lord, I'm afraid I'm gonna say this, but I gotta say because it's important, you know. And so people do just really, really fringe things that are highly dangerous because it makes them feel like they're alive for moments. And why would we do crazy things? Now I understand climbing a cliff and rock climbing because you had to get to the eagle's nest and get some eggs for some protein and nutrients or whatever, because you had to. But if you got used to doing that and that thrill to survive, if you're locked in a cubicle and you don't have that thrill, then your body is constantly seeking thrills. Every cell in your body and your DNA thrives on that feeling like it's alive. And so one of the worst examples I heard, okay, if you got kids, go like this real quick. Don't let kids listen to this part. Do this. Y'all, my kids, y'all turn it off. Y'all go do your homework or something. Don't listen to this part. So in the UK, and it's an exclusively English thing. I love my English brothers, boy, but they come up with some stuff. They have something called dogging. Oh my God, don't ever look it up on the internet. Dogging are places where people go to be, I guess, sexually free, and they meet up with people they don't even know to have sex and masturbate and do things in lit rooms and cars and whatever, just because of the thrill of being with a stranger they don't know. We're killing ourselves, y'all. We are killing ourselves. And we are voting. We are chaining up our genetics in places they should not be. And it's bringing about a need for thrills that we should not have. I mean, you think about the sexual predators. And who was that golfer sexual predator? It's the brother, he says he's Thai, but he's got the African skin DNA. What's the Tiger Woods? Tiger Woods. And so, he's a sexual predator. Why? Why? It's not about not having money. It's about not being free. Because if you've ever had some money, the only free people in those scenarios are the children of the ones who run the corporations. The one who run the corporation, they're not free. They're actually more slaves than what you are. Do they look good on Facebook? Yeah, the few of those that are on Facebook, the 2 billionaires I know, they're not happy people. They are not free. They can go where they want. For the most part, they can kind of do some things that they want. But they are chained into a whole different world of slavery, a whole different world of corporate slavery, where they're fighting to survive. They're fighting to keep what they have. They know that everybody they know in the circles they float want everything they have and will get major credit, toppling them into nothing and taking whatever they can from the future of their kids. So the only ones who taste that freedom are probably those kids, and they end up doing way too many drugs probably and car crashes. But we are in a bad place, you guys. We are and so those thrills to feel like we're alive are killing us. So, I went down to, a place, but we are living the matrix, you guys. We are putting our kids we're lining them up for the future of human farming. Because right now we might be in cubicle farms. Where does that go? I mean, really, if you really think about it, how different is it to have somebody in a cubicle and slowly suck out their productivity, slowly suck out their intellectual capital? How different is that when perhaps you don't need that and you don't have that? How different is that from the matrix where you're just slowly sucking out the warmth of their body? You're slowly sucking out a little bit of electricity. Like how much of a stretch is it? And I don't think it's a big stretch. I mean, what do you do in this march towards getting rid of all the jobs, which is what both parties are completely doing while they're talking bad about automation, which is what every corporation is doing while they're talking about automation, talking bad about it. They're all automating you out of a job. Like I said before, we don't have jobs out of some mistake and some bad idea that Clinton or Bush or Obama or somebody made. We don't have any jobs because we're not supposed to. As we seek evolving and innovation and efficiency, the eventual goal is to have very few to no jobs that human beings are doing that involve any sort of labor or calculation or whatever it is that you do. From the legal system to accounting to these jobs should not exist. And I think people are crazy for raising children to think that they're actually going to have a job doing these things. Their job, What do you do with billions of human beings that you have no purpose for? Well, you have to feed them for the most part. You have to clothe them, and that's assuming you have a heart enough to not just murder them, kill them, let them just die. You have to come up with a purpose for them. And if they have no other purpose, I don't think it's a big stretch that they would just be heat and electricity. And I'm gonna end on this, but let me look at some comments. I think that the Matrix isn't a far stretch. I think that might have been a brother or sister from the future who came back and said, "Hey, guess what? Some crazy conspiracy stuff. Y'all ever look online, look at the Men in Black, and people being caught on camera. They suspect they're humans coming back through the time machines, but um, yeah, Buddhists are predator equals power, right? And we give power to the predators, and we think when we attack utopianism that we're doing our future a favor, and we're not. We're thriving on today and sacrificing the future for the kids tomorrow, right? And Brother Mark, they're fighting tooth and nail for rigged elections. They're fighting, in the vast majority, are doing anything they can to have another corrupt election, and it boggles my mind too, brother. We have to go against the stream. You're right. We have to go against the herd. We have to stop this. No, that's not my favorite. This is my favorite. I'm gonna end on this one. We have to stop this. We have to stop. Grab who you can. Don't let them push you in the hole. But you got to grab who you can and head the other direction. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking about today. I've got to go get my bag of cotton. I got to go do my picking, but I'm not running towards a hole. I'm running away. We have to go back to being smart as the dumbest herd on the planet, the dumbest cows you can think of, because they're not as dumb as we think. They're a heck of a lot smarter than where the vast majority of us right now are heading. Appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate any comments later. I read all my comments, and I definitely appreciate the shares. Y'all have a great day. If I don't talk to you later today, because my mind, sometimes it'll hit me, I might come back. But if I don't talk to you guys later today, y'all have an awesome Freedom Friday. Walk out that office like things might change this weekend. You may not have to walk back in on Monday. Human beings just might be free on Monday. I highly doubt it, but we certainly aren't going to get there if we certainly don't start listening to the people who are thinking, those brothers and sisters who left the cave in that analogy, and they saw what was outside. They came back to tell us, and we let ignorant people tell them that they were lying. Y'all have a good day. Love y'all.